Hello, purpose-driven career leaders. My name is Kori Burkholder, founder of Purpose-Driven Career Accelerator Program. And today I am here with Kristen, who was a participant in the program, and we wrapped up about a few months ago, 5 or 6 months ago. And I wanted to reconnect with her because there's so many exciting things happening in her life right now and in her career, and just to see what she's up to since we finished working together. So I want to turn it over to you, Kristen. So anything that you want to share with us, maybe a little bit about yourself, where you're from, anything else?
Oh, of course. Hello. Thank you. So I live in New York City. My whole career has been in New York City. I worked in reality television for about 10 years. And when I met you, Kori, I was trying my hardest to get out of a job that I had had for 6 years. And I felt like I sort of fell into the position. I always wanted to work in television, but I sort of fell into post-production. And then I became good at it. So I just sort of kept going and going and going. And it was such a stressful environment. I was working 24/7. I would work at 3 a.m. I would work for 72 hours straight without sleeping. So it was a very stressful job. And I just put my head down and kept working at it, that I forgot to pop up and say, oh my gosh, like what am I actually doing with my life and my career? So once the pandemic hit, I was working even more and more hours, being remote. And I just decided that this isn't what I'm happy with. This isn't what I thought I would do out of college. I thought I would do something more creative. And I had sort of fallen into this managerial, very strict, very organized role with budgets and all sorts of stuff. And I was just sort of like, wow, that wasn't where I thought I would be. And so I just had this moment where I was like, I have to change my life. I was like, because it can't keep going on this way. Like I felt sick, like I was just exhausted and stressed out all the time. And I didn't love every coworker that I worked with. I actually started to resent a lot of them for not having any sort of boundaries. Like I had this boss that I would tell her all week about something that needed to get done by Friday. And she would decide that on Saturday afternoon would be the perfect time to bother me on whatever I was doing that day and have me come back into work so I could finish whatever else was needed during the week. And I was like, that's not appropriate. That's not a boundary. That's not the way I want to live my life. So we worked together. It's been a year since I've left that job, and now it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I guess it has been a year.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was June of last year that my lawyer signed off and I was able to get out of the contract.
Right. Yeah. So when you came to me, this is what you were really struggling with. It was, you were working 24/7. Your boundaries were being crossed left and right. You were tired, and you realize that this is not how you want to be spending your time, using your skills and your strengths. And so you were like really stressed and ready for a change, and try to figure out really what's next.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Did
you have any hesitations in terms, after we had that call together, hesitations in joining the program? Was there anything that was maybe going to hold you back from saying yes?
I think I had a hesitation with career counselors in general, because before we started working together, I was meeting with a few other people, just sort of being like, what does a career counselor do? Like, what am I getting myself in for? And because it was just sort of like in my head, I was like, well, I know what is on my resume, so I feel like it should just be applicable to finding a job. But it's actually a lot harder than that.
Yeah.
So I thought like this was something that I could just do on my own, but I soon found out I was just drowning further and further. And then the harder it became, the more I procrastinated on moving forward, and the more I was just stuck. So once we had our initial conversation, I was like, this is great, because it wasn't just here are your skills, this is your job, as I've kind of noticed with a few other career counselors. It was like, what do you want to do with your day? How do you want to live your life? and then you can have the tools, even if it's just little things to keep you moving forward. It was at least actions that I was being held accountable to do, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. So sometimes
Really
people
needed
get
that
stuck when
accountability.
right. The accountability is huge in coaching. And also, you weren't really clear on what it was that you wanted to do next. So we kind of needed to dive into that exploration phase a little bit. But what do you think your biggest goals were? Once you said yes, like what was it that you wanted to accomplish?
I wanted to, one, leave my current job and figure out how to do that without burning any bridges.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to move into a work environment that I felt more comfortable, and gave me a little bit of work-life balance. Because up until that point, I'd never had that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think there was another thing on there too. The other goal was a passion of yours that you had been doing prior to.
God.
Yeah,
It
what
was
was
my on-camera hosting, and I had started, hosting on camera right after college, and then with this new job in reality television, I just sort of, it took over my life to such an extreme way that I had no time for any other sort of side project or passion project, or really anything else. So, and that was something that I loved so much. And it was just so hurtful that like I had no time to do any of that anymore. So I really wanted to try to find balance and bring in all of my passions.
Yeah, so finding a job that was going to give you that freedom and flexibility and
Mhm.
stability and
Mhm.
a normal working schedule where
Yes,
you're going to have the energy and time to be focused on your passions, which is so huge,
right.
just for fulfillment at the end of the day,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So looking back, I know it's been a little bit, but do you remember maybe what the most impactful thing was that we did during the program? Maybe like an aha moment or an exercise or a coaching session?
I really I think like the values, when we did our values
Mm,
worksheet, and then when we did envisioning your perfect working day, that sort of really helped me, because I had always just been like, well, this is your job, this is just what happens, like whatever they want you to do, you do. But after being able to be like, oh, so I'm not at the mercy of the company that I work for, I can be in control of my own day and envision what kind of life that I want to have. Because I also realized during our coaching, and even after our coaching, it wasn't necessarily what I was doing in my job, like the actual tasks of my job, that I had a problem with. It
mhm,
was just the way that my entire life was structured around them. And now I sort of moved into a position where I do get that space to think for, a little bit outside of work. It's like, oh wow, I'm good to do all of that stuff during the day, whatever you need. I said, but if it's great that they give me boundaries, and that helps me just sort of be like, I'm here for you to do whatever you like, because you respect my time, so I'm absolutely here to respect your time and the work that you're giving me.
yeah, yeah, I love that. It's just like you came up for a breath, like through that ideal working day. It's just like, oh, yeah, I can create my own day. And that's what I love, because whether you believe in law of attraction or not, I mean, I am a believer. It's like what you put your mind and thoughts to is going to occur. And that literally, like we'll get into it in a minute, but you got it.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about the results that you got. So what are three like tangible results that you feel like you got from the program?
Well, I definitely, well, I got a new job, so there's that.
Yes.
Yes. I
And
got
we'll
a
go
new
into that
job.
too as well. I want to, yeah, hear about that.
Yes. I got a new job that I enjoy. And I got a job where my boss is awesome. I have a lot of respect for her. She has respect for me. I'm also working more in a creator field than doing operations. I
Mhm.
kind of had an aha moment right after our coaching, because I had said, I want to do operations. I'm going to be the boss. I'm going to be the manager. And then I started looking for those jobs and I went, why did I do that? I don't want to do that. I want to do something creative. I was just so stuck in like what your job is supposed to be, as opposed to like, what do I actually want my job to be?
Yeah.
So I got a new job. I got a new resume. I'm able to do my on-camera hosting work. So I've been able to bring all of those things that I really wanted into my life together.
Yeah, I mean, new job, the resume, right? Did that help you get the CMT job?
It did.
Yeah, okay, great.
Well, CMT I actually got from a friend.
Yeah.
So that was good. There was networking. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And then, I mean, that's the big thing. What we talked about before we hopped on here was like, you have enough time now for your passion, right? The hosting. And I mean, this is obviously a bigger vision, is something you want to do. I think that you said full time.
Yes.
Right.
Because now I can actually see it happening full time.
Yeah. So, you've got the freedom, the flexibility to be able to do this, and a boss that you share that is really supportive of it.
Right. And she's supportive of vacations. They have boundaries. I will say, I went on vacation last week, 2 weeks ago, and my boss did not email me the entire time I was on vacation. She was responding to emails saying, listen, Kristen's out, but don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. That had never happened for me before. And my best friend, I was on vacation with my best friend, and it's always a running joke for the past many 10 years that we've known each other, that every vacation we've taken, I've at some point broken down and hysterically cried at some point in the vacation, because work would be like, hey, I know you're on vacation, but you're the only person that can answer this question. You have to answer it now because blah, 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 blah. And you're just sort of like, oh my God, what? Give me a couple days. Like, you really can't just like leave me alone. And so she was laughing that this was the first vacation I've ever taken where no crying from me has happened, which is actually a pretty big feat.
Yeah. And that you were present. Right? Like you were present, because before, I remember, last summer when sometimes you had to leave vacations early, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So vacations always on my phone.
Yeah. So none of that anymore.
None of that.
Awesome.
It's fantastic.
So happy for you. So was there anything surprising that happened that you weren't expecting to get from the program?
I think I was kind of surprised to get sort of just think about life balance and think about other things that happen besides work. Because when you think, okay, I'm, working with the career counselor, I'm changing careers, you kind of just think, okay, these are my skills. Let's get a job based on this. But it's actually like just more than that. Like, I found all of the worksheets that we did and the exercises made me think about my life as a whole, and not just a 9-to-5 situation.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. And a lot of people like make that mistake, right? Or I don't know if it's a mistake, but they just kind of put them in buckets, but we want to look at the whole, because they intersect with each other. They bleed into each other. And so we really want to create that, holistic approach to, right? Yeah. So tell us what's next for you. What are you working towards right now?
So what's next is I'm still at CMT, which is pretty great. I started there for like 6 weeks and they've just kept extending me, and I'm still going to be there through the summer. So that'll be nice. It's a creative job now, which is perfect. I just get to do that and not have to worry about anything else. I am also now hosting for Amazon. So I do their live streams every Tuesday. I talk about home products and beauty products, and I show them all off.
Where can we tune into that?
You can find it on Amazon Marketplace on Amazon.com.
Okay, great. I'll check that out.
Yeah, you could catch all my live streams. It's like it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. It's a really good experience. I actually get to go into a studio and have a producer and work. And I talk for an hour and a half straight. So it takes a lot of stamina, but it's like it's good. They pay me just a little bit, but it's something that I can put on the resume and continue working on my skills. And my new job is happy that I'm doing this. So it's all working out.
It's all working out with the vision that you set up about a year ago now.
Mm-hmm.
So happy to hear that. Congratulations on that. And one last question. So what would you say to somebody who is kind of on the fence, considering joining the program, but they're afraid to make that big step? What would you
I think you just got to jump off and do it. Like that was my whole thing. I kept procrastinating out of fear, like, because it's a big step to say, okay, I'm going to leave my job and I'm going to find something else, because you have so much of that security. Especially if you do have a full-time position, it's scary and it's hard to let go. But once you do, you just have to realize that, like, you have to trust in yourself and trust in your skills. Like it took me a while to do that. Like, you always used to ask me, what are you good at? And I would be like, I don't know.
so much.
Sort of, right. Just sort of like being like very demure and, about it, being like, don't want to brag about yourself. Cause like, that's very hard to do. But once you're like, okay, I've established, like, this is what I'm good at, this is what I want to do. It's very easy once you leave a position or start to look for new paths in life, for something to not fall into your lap, because you are working towards it, but it's easier to have opportunities come to you if you're out there and putting yourself out there.
Yeah, I mean, what I tell everybody is just like the clarity is everything, and it takes a little while to get that clarity. We're through the deep dive and everything, but like once you get it, it's like, I know exactly what I need to do now. There's no spinning the wheels anymore. And I feel confident moving in that direction. And, just watching your journey was amazing. Like learning about what you do and what you're really good at, and like really taking it and running with it. And so proud of you for doing the CMT, and then more importantly, living your passion and doing the TV hosting. And I know you, and you're driven, and you're going to get there time. So I want to thank you for trusting me as your guide and your coach. It was a pleasure. And yeah, so
I wouldn't have been here without you.
Oh, thank you. That's why I do what I do. Yeah, so if Kristen's story is resonating with you, and you are in a job that you don't like and you want change, but you don't know what that change is, reach out for support. We can book a 15-minute call, and I can work out how I can help you. And my name is Kori Burkholder, reminding you to take action, feel the fear, and do it anyways.